Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Hands on SAP Dev, another episode with me, this time DJ Q Macro. I'm back again. I was away last week. It was my birthday and my grandma's 100th birthday and lots of things going on. So I wasn't around on Friday. But yeah, we're back and I'm very happy to be back. Episode 4, or part 4 rather, of this little diving into messaging series. Let me know what you think. Let me know how it's going. And yeah, I think we're making some good progress. And I think there's going to be at least 3 more parts after this. So we're just taking it step by step, not trying to squeeze too much in. But yeah, always let me know. Feedback is always welcome, negative, positive, whatever. Jodelle, good morning. Oh, and thank you, thank you for the birthday greetings, Jodelle. Nice to see you. Greetings to also you, fellow Homo sapiens. Yes, I've sort of stopped doing well. I mean, when I'm using the SAP developers YouTube identity, I sort of don't do the greetings Earthlings. When it's me, I say greetings Earthlings still. I think we talked about this before, didn't we? I think that was, in my mind, that was from a very old TV series called Mork and Mindy. Anybody remember that? So yeah, good morning, Andrew. Good morning, Jodelle. Good morning, Helmut. Moin moin. Over to Hanover in Germany. Brilliant. Yeah, so got my coffee. Got my biscuit over there, which I'll eat shortly. But let's dive straight in. We've got a lot to cover, as usual. So let's go to what we've always done, but I'm suddenly going to call the news section. I want to break this out eventually into maybe a separate sort of separate show, so we can extract the news and put it in a different thing that you can subscribe to on YouTube. Let me know what you think about that. I think it might be quite a nice idea because it gives us more space in this hour, and also, it gives you a different parallel playlist stream of things to consume in shorter chunks, because obviously a news thing, the whole idea for me, at least in my mind, is maybe a 5-minute news episode. Anyway, Mahesh, good morning, Mahesh. Nice to see you. Let me jump to the main scene, and there's a few things I wanted to share. Tomorrow, 12th of September, the 256th day of the year this year, it's Programmers Day, and there's a Programmers Day mission. Let me just share the URL there to that blog post. You may have seen this already. And the general idea is, we celebrate Programmers Day in different ways. And there's a really easy, as Andrew has already sort of pointed out on Twitter, a very low barrier to entry to this mission. Basically, if you look at this blog post here and then head over to, oh, thanks, Mahesh. So that's you're talking about the news section, I assume. Thank you for that. Yeah, thanks for that feedback. So head over from this blog post, there's a link here. What's your favorite programming language and why? And there's a new discussion in a coffee corner, which is this one here. And like Andrew has already done, fantastic, and really good reasons. I never realized, Andrew, that there was a default immutability to variables, which is really exciting. So yeah, I read that with fascination. So thank you for kicking the ball off, Mr. Barnard. And there we go. So that's the Programmers Day. So we've only got between now and the end of Sunday, whatever that is for your time zone. So put a comment in there, get involved, and yeah, let us know. I'd love to know. I'm still undecided as to what my favorite language is. Different favorites for different reasons. I'm going to pick one. So that's that. Also, we have in the run up to TechEd, we got from Menina, my friend and colleague, a call for proposals, a CFP, call for papers, call for proposals. For SAP Community Talks. So we're going to have some SAP Community Talks. So check that out if you haven't seen that already from Menina, and have a read up of that. The topic is upskilling the developer of the day, which is great. Okay, the focus of TechEd is always sort of a development focus, technical focus. So I really like that. Oh yeah, and also talking to developers, we have of course in the run up to TechEd, as I'm sure you're aware, Devtoberfest. Which is going on. It's currently, right, if we look at the topics, it's currently, we can see it there as well, in its 3rd week. So Max is finishing off today with, I think, 2 exercises, exercise 9 and exercise 10, on CAP. So the enablement topics, as in the whole idea of the word enablement means, we're enabling you to take part in Devtoberfest, which is a series of, learning weeks, culminating in the idea that you submit something for the competition. Well, I'm sure you know about the competition. The competition is described on the Devtoberfest homepage, which is, I've just posted a link there. So currently we've got CAP this week. Next week we've got Marius with the Application Studio, the App Studio, and SAP Fiori development. So watch this space. I'm going to be recording a very short sort of recap of this week, and I look forward to next week. And we'll publish that probably today. So yeah, check that out. Keep going. Too many things to going on. So Jodelle, thank you. I think that's probably a nice criticism, a nice problem to have. But yeah, I feel you. I feel your pain. Always so much to learn as a developer, which is great, I suppose. So hands on it. Okay, so and the final thing. Oh, there's a couple of more things, very small things. Have you all noticed? I went to my trial account yesterday, and I noticed that they've revamped the service instances page. Really nice. It's a lot easier to read, I think. And we've also got this sort of little, here's our enterprise messaging dev service instance. We can have these different actions here, view dashboard, which we already know about. We can update it and we can delete it, but we can also go there, and it uses that lovely Fiori design. I can't remember what it's called now, sort of a 3-panel thing to show us all sorts of different things. And we can, of course, expand that and contract it, which is really nice. So check that out if you haven't already. Be wary of that. By the way, we're doing a lot of bash shell scripting, and I just came across just the other day, even though I came across it like years ago and registered and forgot about it, but I came across this, on the 9th, a couple of days ago, say, oh wow, there's some. I was watching a live stream from the Primogen on Twitch, and he was using Exorcism, which is a series of exercises, and there's a bash track which is really, really interesting. I mean, there's all sorts of places where there are, I use, for example, what's it called, Kata Code Wars to practice my JavaScript, for example. But there's a bash track here, so if you want to learn more about bash and what we're doing, have a look at that. I've only just started, just going through bits and pieces, but it's really nice. And there's a bash unit test framework called BATS, which it uses. Yeah, really nice, really nice. Yes, Helmut, I agree. It's better to have too much than too less. Exactly. Okay, so that's that. So let's dive in now to where we left off. In fact, let's dive in via the repo. I think you were all aware that we've got a repo that we're all, for us to share. Okay, this is the repo in the SAP samples organization. I've been since the last time we were together on this on the previous episode in this little series. I've done a few extra bits and pieces. I've tidied a few things up. I didn't want to do too much because it's nice to code together. So yeah, this is basically for us to share the stuff that we're doing in the terminal for this particular messaging sort of series. So check that out, and let me know what you think. There was, for example, I'm learning all the time. I'm learning, but I was learning the other day that I sort of overdid the curly braces in my variable references in Bash. So I suddenly realized that and thought, I need to clean that up. So for example, here we don't need. It's only when a variable, a dollar variable is right close up to some static string that, of course, we then need to sort of separate that out. So I've made it a lot cleaner by removing a lot of the curly braces, for example. Okay. So what do we want to cover today? So by the way, yeah, if you fancy it, check out this, clone this repo, give it a star if you like it, fork it, send some pull requests. Let's have fun with this. Yeah, there we go. So where we left off last time, which was 2 weeks ago, so I'm struggling slightly to remember, but basically we left off having successfully sent a message or have a message sent to multiple recipients. And of course, we did that using a topic. Okay, so let me go to my terminal. Let's make that a little bit bigger. There we go, that's better. Yeah, there we go, that'll do. Let's go to my terminal and where are we? We're there. Okay, we're there. By the way, also I've just to start the ball rolling, you know, of course this is going to be a long-term thing. In the light of the you know, the effort to make language slightly less painful for some people, I've changed the default branch to from master to main. So there we go. Good morning, Eric. Good morning, Eric, and welcome. Okay, so thanks for the comment about the larger font size, Andrew. Let me make this a little bit bigger as well. Why not? Because you know, we're all together then. Yeah, I think I switched this back to 1080p. Yes, this is the default 1080p, which I'm doing. Okay, fine. Good. Yes. Good morning and welcome, Eric. So yeah, so I've got that now as the main branch rather than master branch. So that's what that main means there. So let's open the dashboard. That script is in the repo, of course, and that just looks at the service instance detail and gets the dashboard URL. Okay, let's expire. Let's just log on. What a surprise. There we go. Da, 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 da. Okay, so we got in the dashboard, we've got a couple of queues, the hands-on queue and a queue called Q1, a queue called Q2, and we created a subscription, a queue subscription. Not a webhook subscription, but a queue subscription, so that we have a topic called Hands-on SAP Dev, and we have two queues attached or subscribed to that topic. So anything that's attached to those queues, for example, something that's pulling messages from those queues or something that's receiving messages via a webhook subscription, right, will get any messages sent to that topic. Okay, I have multiple queues. So there we go. So that's how we can send messages to multiple participants in, you know, a messaging scenario. So that's where we left off. I also found that it was possible to have a queue, because you can see here, this queue is subscribed to Hands-on SAP Dev, and this queue is also subscribed to Hands-on SAP Dev. So there's a one topic to many queue relationship at the moment, but also you can have multiple queue subscriptions. So you can subscribe a queue to multiple topics. So if you've got a single recipient wanting to receive messages from multiple sources, you can do that as well. So let's just feel what that is and what that looks like before we move on to the main topic of the day. Main topic of the day, see what I did there? Unintentionally. Which is quality of service. Okay, we've been sort of skirting around the quality of service thing. So I want to play with quality of service. So there we go. Let's have a coffee. What we'll do it all in terminal, of course, because the future is terminal. And let us. So this is queue subscriptions, not webhook subscriptions. So this is more in the sort of the management end of things. In fact, if we have a look at the APIs that we got saved here in the management end of things, we've got this sort of queue subscriptions, get queue subscription, create or update, delete, and so on. So we've got those in our management script. So I've got the bash completion. And again, if you're interested in the bash completion, of course, that's this management completion here, and then there's a bash completion for messaging completion too. So management completion, create a symbolic link there as it's described, and then bang, you've got this sort of tab-based, what are the possible commands? So that's nice, I thought. So if we have a look at list queue subscriptions, it'll tell us, first of all, okay, well, you know, you need to give us the name of the queue, right, that you want to list the subscriptions for. So if we have a look at the dashboard, we know, for example, that Q1 is subscribed to Hands-on SAP Dev, so we should see that. So let's try Q1. Q1. And it shows us a list, first of all, because there could be multiple, right? Q1 is subscribed to Hands on SAP Dev. If we do, we've got here the hands-on, where is it? The hands-on queue as well. Okay, we can see that actually. In fact, management list queues, we can see that we've got the hands-on queue. So if we do a hands-on there, where's my face, by the way? I'm going to put it, yeah, it's at the top. Yes, that's fine. So there are no queue subscriptions for hands-on. So we can create one. Management, create, update queue subscription. What do we need to do? We need to do it, so queue hands-on for topic T1. But let's do topic T2 and topic T3, for example. So now, list queue subscriptions for hands-on, we should see a list of 3. There we go. So we can subscribe a single queue to which you can attach a webhook subscription or pull messages off as and when you want to multiple topics. Okay, and don't forget you can send messages to topics, right? So let's have a look at this in the dashboard as well. If we go down to queue subscriptions now, we see, just like we're seeing here, we can now see that we've got a single queue hands-on subscribed to 3 different topics. So in fact, at the moment, why don't I try this? If we send with hands-on has got no messages, right? And we haven't got any webhook subscriptions. Let's update that as well. So why don't we send a message to each of the topics, T1, T2, T3, count those messages and add them all up, and then that should then end up with that many total messages in the hands-on queue, right? Does that make sense? So if we say messaging, what can we do? Publish message to topic, and of course we need the topic name, which is T1, and we'll say this. By the way, I've changed. Let's make that 1 bigger. Yes, because there we go. That's at the bottom now. I've changed very slightly the webhook receiver to expect and parse the body of an incoming message, as in a message that's sent to the webhook, as text rather than as JSON, because I got tired of typing the JSON on the command line. So basically that's that change there. I think, yes, I pushed that change. Where was it? Oh, there we go. It's right, yeah, an hour ago. So it's this morning. There we go. Instead of having body parser.json, we've now got body parser.text, and I'm saying basically, I don't really care what the incoming content type header says, just treat it as text. Okay, so we can be a little bit sort of lazier. It should be easier. Does that make sense? So that's that. Let's go back here and we'll send the message this, which is text, not JSON, which is the reason I was reminded to say that. We'll send that to the topic T1. Okay, so now if we have a look in the administration and keep it updated, we can see that the hands-on queue has now 1 message. Okay, so far so good. Let's send another one. Let's send this again, right? So now it should have, come on, 2. Right, so, but if we send now to topic T2 that, and to topic T3, for example, the other, this, that, and the other, and send another one of those. So I've lost count. So this, that, the other. Should be 5 messages altogether, right? There we go, 5. So basically, you can receive in a single queue, messages sent to multiple topics. So that's almost like the opposite, the other end of the spectrum to where we left off last time. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Why do I do this to myself? It's really nice though. This is still the same packet I bought about a month ago, and they're still super crunchy. Very Italian amministratore. Administrator biscuits. Well, some of you may remember why I call them that. Anyway, so now let's jump. That was that a little bit of a side thing. Let's jump, because what I wanted to explore with you is quality of service. Okay, there are different areas where quality of service, I've made some comments on this documentation, there are different areas where this quality of service is used. In fact, before going through here, we're not going to go through all the documentation, but before going through here, let's just have in our mind, I'm not sure, I've got this, the base 16 themes, which is brilliant, and I've got this little script that will change it randomly. I don't like that one. I'll put the actual script name in the tmux bottom, so I said BSR, no, I don't like that one, so it'll change it for me. And it should add it to the list of things that will get filtered out for next time. So base 16 Monachi, that's pretty nice. BSR, let's have a random one. One dark, that'll do. Okay, fine. Anyway, so if we have a look at messaging, in fact, QOS in all the scripts here, which is only the messaging and management, we can see that it only exists in messaging. Oh, that's a nice inconsistent there, isn't it? Single quotes, double quotes. But anyway, we've got the quality of service specified, right, in You Biscuit Me Cheddar Cheese Sandwich with red wine. Excellent, Andrew. I know I can always rely on you for some culinary delights on a Friday evening over in Oz. Fantastic. Yes, it is. Andrew, good question. So, 2 days ago, did a little read from standard in. So I've got this script here. There's my BSR script, okay, which basically also says you need to install this base 16 shell. And yeah, it's sort of, yeah, have a play with it. It sort of runs, it's running in the background right now. So, you know, in fact, I've got it in different terminals all around here, but in every 30 minutes it'll change this. It'll change the theme. Okay. Oh, it's just changed it actually. Programmer. Not quite sure what that means, but anyway. So yeah, have a play with the doc files. The doc files are, of course, there. Okay, so we've got quality of service in the chunk of, well, this of course is YAML because it's nicer to type YAML. In the chunk of YAML that would become JSON that we create to create a webhook subscription. If you remember, in the REST APIs for messaging, let's go to enterprise messaging. No, we don't want those. We want the ones for messaging. Okay, webhook. There we go. Create subscription. Okay. What we need to send, and this JSON here is basically what this YAML is here. What we need to send is this information, which we've done already, right? We've done in a previous episode. One thing we sort of not ignore, but say, well, we'll deal with that later, is this quality of service, which is 1 in this example here, but we said, oh, 0, let's just leave it, right? So quality of service is relevant for when we are using webhook subscriptions. We'll come to that in a minute. Where else does quality of service exist in this script? When we're publishing a message, okay? So this is the publish message function here. We also at the moment are saying quality of service 0. We don't really care about quality of service. Remember, quality of service as described in the documentation basically means 0, I don't really care. 1, I want some form of guaranteed delivery. I want you to make sure it's delivered. And that's also sort of binding yourself into not a contract, into an agreement with the service to, for example, send an acknowledgement that you've received a message, for example, or to resend until the service says, yes, it's been sent, right? So all sorts of interesting different things. Let me send you that page there as well. Okay. So anyway, we've got that quality of service in the published message, and also where else have we got it? Oh yes, okay, so when we consume a message, we haven't consumed any messages yet, right? We haven't come to that. I've added this bit of code. I'm hoping we're going to get to it as well. Consume messages, as in, instead of having messages sent to us in a sort of a push through a webhook subscription, there's also a possibility of saying, I want a message. I want a message, right? And when we say I want a message, we can either say I want a message with quality of service 0, which is what it says here, in which case the service having sent us the message will delete that message. But if we say I want a message, give me a message, quality of service 1, the service will not delete that message that it sent us until we send the service back an acknowledgement. Yes, thank you, we've got the message. Now we can delete it. Okay, so why don't we do that first? Eric, good question. It's not only for webhooks, it's for webhooks, but also I think actually you were asking that while I was explaining it. So yeah, again with the delay, a 20-second delay over YouTube or whatever. So yes, it's not only for webhooks, but it's also for message consumption. So in fact, why don't we do message consumption first? Or yeah. So what do we want to do? We want to set up something where we've got a webhook. Or no, actually, no, why do we do the consume messages? So we want to set up a queue or a topic. We've got one already, right? We've got the hands-on, where is it? We've got the hands-on queue. We'll use that one. And we've got some messages there, actually. Okay, cool. So now we want to consume one of these messages. So why don't we do that and start from there, right? So the consume message from Q is in the, where is it? Here. Where is it? Down. Get subscriptions. Handshake. Update. Where is it? There we go. Consume. So what we want to do is to consume a message from a queue. We need a queue name, obviously. Note that it's a post because we're going to be affecting the state on the server, right? And the message is going to be deleted. Could be, right? So we need a post, not a get. So, you know, in our minds, we might initially think, oh, get, go and get a message. But that get, or the consumption of the message is not, does not have no side effects, has a side effect, right? So we shouldn't use get, so post here is correct. We need to specify this QOS, this quality of service header parameter, when we consume the message. So let's try it. Okay, so we've got here, I've already written this because I didn't want to, you watch me typing, we've already got an hour in this particular case. So consume message from queue. We specify the queue name. Yes, Andrew, that's interesting. Consume sounds like a mutation because once you've consumed it, it's sort of gone. So it's not like a delete, but it has a little bit of that connotation. Consume that message and it's not consumable anymore because I've consumed it. Okay. So we got this consume message from queue. Let's set, in fact, why don't we do this? Let's, instead of hard coding this quality of service, let's have a variable QOS. QOS equals 0, first of all, right? So where else is the QOS? QOS, $QOS, quality of service, there we go. And there, we need to put these in double quotes. If we're going to use a variable, of course, QOS, there we go. So now we've got a dynamic, okay? Delays, yes, delays. Infamy, we've all got infamy. So there we go. We got quality of service and we're setting that to 0 at the moment. But also what we'll do is we'll change the output to verbose to see what we're doing. So we've got here, if we say here, management list queues, we can see in the hands-on queue, right, we can see there that we've got 5 messages. In fact, we've got the possibility of saying get Q hands on, and that will just give us a single stanza. Okay. Note that here we've got these square brackets, which denotes, of course, an array, multiple queues, list queues. Hands on, get Q hands on, get a single queue. There we go. So actually, why don't we do this? Watch N1 management get Q. So we'll run that every second. And now what we'll do is we will consume one. So messaging, oh yeah, export path equals current path, current directory as well as path. Let's put that in there as well, right? Messaging, what can we do? Consume. Consume message from Q. What do we need? Oh, yeah, okay, that was the authentication. Consume message from Q name. So we need to do consume message from Q, Q hands on, right? So let's see what happens. We get a 200 OK. Now up there, as you can see, just this second, not there, there, the message count has gone down from 5 to 4. Okay, so it's gone. And what do we have here? Let's zoom in for a second. What do we have here? We've got our request. We post to the queues hands-on messages consumption. We send our bearer token as authorization. And we also send quality of service 0. I don't care about the quality of service, just give me the message and delete it. Okay, and we can see we get a 200 response. We get the message. There's that this. Okay, that's the thing we sent. Remember this, that, and the other. There's the this text. Okay, it's text plain. Remember in the documentation it says that basically the enterprise messaging service treats the actual payload as, you know, as binary, as in it's not really binary, but you know, it doesn't look at it. It's just this lump, right? And the message is gone. Now, what happens if we now say quality of service 1? Let's try that, shall we? Let's run that again. Messaging, consume message from Q, hands on. Are we ready for this? In fact, there we go. That's better, isn't it? There we go. That's a little bit better. Messaging, consume message from Q, hands on. So we're going to consume another message, but this time in the request, we're going to send the header XQOS1. There we go. We can see the header already. There, XQOS1. It's still the same call, right? There it is. I've got that double slash there, but I'll talk about that in a minute. It's just because I wanted to be a bit neater in the actual variable expansion. And if we go down, we get the QoS1 there. That's what we send. Remember, in curl's output, the greater than signs is like this is what you're sending, and the less than signs is this is what's coming back. Okay, that's how you read them. That's the difference between these things here. That's going out, request, and that's coming back in, response. So we can see the response here, we get that. Okay, so we get content length 4, text plain, and we get this because we sent two this words, didn't we? Two messages. But notice that unlike, is it still there actually? Let's go back to the previous one. Where was it? In fact, let's go and search for this there. Unlike, so that was the first one. And in the response, we got content length 4, we got content type plain, and we got this VCAP request ID and the date, and that was it. But now we also get a message ID. Okay, and that's exactly because we have set quality of service to 1. So we need, it's expecting us to acknowledge receipt of that message, right? To say, yes, I've received it. Now we can delete it. Because at the moment, look over here, right? Look over here. At the moment, we've got message count 4 still, unacknowledged message count 1. Okay, so we had 5, we consumed 1 with quality of service 0, so it went down to 4. We've just consumed another one, there's the second one there, right? But it's not gone down from 4 to 3, it stayed at 4, but we've got this unacknowledged message count, so we've got to acknowledge it. Oh, Andrew, music to my ears. And this is to the friends on the channel right now in the chat. All, I guess, Andrew. Good one. Any appetite for an excursion to explore tmux and VI for those who don't use them daily? What a brilliant idea. Let's see what folks say. So we've got this unacknowledged message. So let's just flip over to here. And what do we do? What do we have to do, right? That's going to stay there until we acknowledge it. But how do we acknowledge it? Well, we need to say, yes, we've got this message, right? And how can we be specific about which message we've got? We need to use a message ID that it's given us. So if we have a look here, there's our consume message from Q that we've been using, right? I've also added the code in the script for the next thing down here, which is acknowledge message consumption. Let's get rid of that search thing. Path parameter, message ID required, right? So we need to say post messaging arrest, blah, blah, blah. What queue and what ID of message, what message ID, right? So that's what this does. This basically says, takes the name of a queue and takes the message ID, makes sure they're not empty, and then sends a post request to that thing there, okay? Acknowledgement. In fact, that's just slightly, there we go, one line. So let's run that, shall we? Messaging, acknowledge message consumption, right? Queue name is hands-on. Oh, hold on. Ah, we need the message ID, don't we? 1 second. Where's the message ID? There. There. Hands-on. That. Amazing. Okay, so now let's just look at the request. What we sent was that post messaging rest v1 queues hands-on. That's the hands-on queue. Messages, and then the ID of the message that we're acknowledging, the ID that we got from the header in the response when we pull the message. So we're consuming messages with quality of service, right? And we send our bearer token, of course. I'm not sure what's going on over there with the weird thing, but anyway, let's leave that for now. And then what we get as a response is 202 accepted. Thank you very much. Notice as well what's going on over here is the message count has now finally gone down from 4 to 3 because we've acknowledged receipt of that message. And of course, the message count for unacknowledged messages has gone from 1 back down to 0 again because we've acknowledged it. That's pretty cool, right? Does that make sense? Let me know. Let me know. Oh, I've still got half a biscuit. So, that makes sense to me. Does it make sense to you? Oh, Helmut. So quality of service equals 1 can be used to build a CQRS system. Keep messages to play the later at any time. Yes, exactly. Exactly. I mean, messages will, you don't, I might have misunderstood what you're asking here, Helmut, but you can send a message to a queue and it'll stay in that queue until you consume it. So that is sort of separate to the quality of service. The quality of service is more about making sure that things are successfully sent or successfully received. Because remember, we had those 5 messages in the hands-on queue just sitting there, all morning until we started consuming them. Ooh, how large can a message be? That's interesting. I've got in my brain it's like 3,000 bytes or something. I'm not quite. I'm honestly not quite sure. Not quite sure. Publish message to a topic. Request body byte, an array of bytes. It's probably in the documentation. Let's have a look. Well, what we'll do is, unless anybody knows, please put the answer in the chat. But I'll have a look in the documentation. I'll try and find out, and I'll add that for next time, because I don't want to, let's not search through the documentation now, unless it's like obvious. Size. Oh, here we go. Message size. The maximum message size is 1 megabyte for all messaging protocols. I've no idea where 3,000 came from. Oh no, I was thinking of 30 days. The maximum time to live is 30 days of a message or something like that, right? I think. Anyway, so there we go. Maximum message size, is that that's what we're asking? Is 1 megabyte, MB, or is it mebibyte? Anyway, let's not go there. Okay, so where does that leave us? It leaves us with having, well, first of all, having consumed messages via pull now, instead of having a webhook saying, send me the messages, here's my bucket, send them all to the bucket. We've now gone through the process of not having a webhook attached to the, let's just stop there, attached to the queue, but we have the queue with no webhook. We've just been using the consume call, post to the consumption endpoint, and also acknowledging. So why don't we now try to see what happens when we play around, just going back to Eric's question, play around with quality of service on webhooks, right? So we've got this webhook subscription, right? When we create a webhook subscription, we can specify the quality of service. Now, I did notice down here, where was it? If we do QOS, for example, quality of service, webhook, here we go, webhook subscriptions. Push-based model, subscriptions can be created with quality of service 0 or 1. In the case of quality of service 1, when the service sends the post request to the webhook with a message, it needs an acknowledgement from the webhook as a response. So you've got a webhook, it's sitting there waiting for messages to come into it, to be, waiting for post requests, like we've been using the webhook, right? And it says here, all 2 series HTTP responses are considered as positive acknowledgements by the webhook. Okay, and the messages are deleted from the queue. So basically that's saying to me, if we attach, well, let's do that. Let's do one now. If we attach a webhook and then have those messages get sent by the push method, which we've done already, right? We can, what will happen is that the service will send the messages to the webhook. The webhook at the moment, right? Let's have a look at the webhook. Webhook. Have I got it open already? Oh, there we go. Yeah, the webhook responds with a status of 200. Right, which is, fine. We didn't really think about that before, did we? So the webhook responds with a status of 200. So that's basically implicitly saying, yes, I've got the message. I've got the message, right? From a QoS 1 perspective. For any other response codes, when we're using QoS 1, the service tries again to deliver the message to the webhook. So what do we try that? Okay, so let's, we don't need that. Yeah, let's go here. And what have we got? So let's have a look. Have we got any webhooks right now? Well, let's just have a look here. Messaging administration, we've got here, oh, we've got a queue hands-on. That'll do, right? We've got some messages in it already. We can send some more. We've got some queue subscriptions, but we're not interested in those. We're not doing topics today. And we don't have any webhook subscriptions. So why don't we create a webhook subscription? We've already got that app, haven't we? CFT apps, that webhook that we've been using, Kind Otter, right? So we'll use that. Yeah, we'll use that as the webhook subscription. So if we say, and don't forget, webhook subscriptions, as opposed to topic subscriptions, are at the sort of the downstream end of things, at the messaging end of things, rather than the management end of things. So messaging, create webhook subscription. Oh, hold on. What do we need? In fact, let's put the. Let's put the verbose back to silent. And there we go. Ooh, there we go. Change again. I've got multiple things running, so it changes faster. Seaside. I like that one. Atelier Seaside. So we need the name of the subscription, of the webhook subscription. The queue that we want to attach the webhook subscription to. Is so hard to say webhook subscription. And then the endpoint, the URL. So if we say here, the name is going to be sub1, right? Let's attach it to the hands-on queue. Oops. And we'll have, there we go, yeah, we'll have this root here as the endpoint. Okay, so if we now say messaging list webhook subscriptions, we've got that webhook subscription. It's active because by default, we say basically it's exempt from a handshake, so it's not sort of paused waiting for the handshake. Let's have a look at that in the dashboard. There it is, sub1, subscribe to that queue, hands-on, quality of service is 1. Ah, yeah, the quality of, yeah, okay, let's go straight to 1 then. The quality of service is 1, not 0, right? Because we'd set this variable there, okay? So quality of service 1. Now, if we 3, yeah, okay, that'll do, yeah. So CF logs webhook. Great. Remember we had this little sort of hand thing, didn't we? Spitting thing. I think that's what we had. Ah, wait. This is still expecting JSON. So instead, what we'll do is we'll delete that one actually. Messaging delete webhook subscription sub1, and instead over here let's run this. Okay, so we've got this change, right? Index.js. We're now parsing text. That'll do. So if we say npm start, and we'll start an ngrok connection, ngrok HTTP 80, just like we did a couple of episodes ago from that good suggestion. Ooh. There we go. So we've got this thing here. So this is what we want here. So if we say, let's create it again, but this time we'll have that. Okay, so we've now got this subscription. Looks the same, but now when we look at it, of course, it's going to now point to this webhook URL, which is there, right? Mocha equals mud. Like the interplay between the console and the web GUI and the web UI. Ah, okay. Mocha equals mud. I like that. Yeah, it's quite muddy. Quite coffee-like. Or mocha-like. I suppose that's why it's called mocha. So we've now got a webhook. And actually, let's see. We've got that webhook subscription. Ah, yeah, okay. So what happened was we basically, when we connected the webhook subscription pointing to the webhook app on Cloud Foundry, my Cloud Foundry space, it drained those 5 messages because it got sent. Okay, we didn't see the thing. So now let's send some more messages. Let's send some more messages. If we say, where are we? That'll do, actually. Yeah, let's send them here. If we say, yeah, for I in sequence 10, let's send 10 messages, right? Let's first of all, let's for our any bash newcomers here, we can sort of do a little for loop like that. Okay, so now we can say messaging. In fact, what do we want to do? Messaging publish message to queue. We want the name of the queue and what the message is. Circus. Does that look like a circus to you? I don't know. Anyway, so there we go. So we'll say here, do messaging publish message to queue hands on, and then we'll just send them, you know, the number as the message itself, as the message body. Done. So theoretically, we should see those messages. Ooh, that's good. We should see those messages come in here, right? So let's find out. Bad gateway. What's going on? What's going on? Mm, 10 messages. Oh, okay, that's good. Something's gone wrong. Something's gone wrong. Let's have a look. That's quite exciting. Let's just try. I have no idea why that's blue, but anyway, let's just try here. Where are we? Curl localhost. Oh, let's send a message. Hello. Samueli. I started ngrok with ngrok HTTP 80. Ah! Did I say 80 or 8080? Samueli. I think you're right, you know. That worked. Oh, Samueli. You seriously have got some amazing eyes. You spotted that the order of the messages were out of order. And now you've spotted that I mistakenly, thank you very much, connected my ngrok tunnel to port 80, not port 8080. What an idiot I am. Well, Samueli, fantastic. So let's do that again. Ngrok HTTP 8080. I'm going to get a different ID here, so that's fine. We'll use that one. There. Let's go back here. Let's delete that subscription. And let's add it again. Hands on. There. There we go. We got them all. We got them all. Fantastic. Okay, so we've got them all there. Right. Okay. So that's fine. Let's do that. Let's do that a little bit more, because let's just make sure we all understand what we're doing here. Are we all following? So we're going to publish some more messages. In fact, yeah, okay, fine. Well, let's do that. Bum, 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 bum. There we go. There's the messages coming in. Right? We've got quality of service 1 on the webhook subscription, haven't we? If we have a look at the webhook subscription itself, we've got quality of service 1, which means, according to the documentation, which means that it's expecting an acknowledgement by means of an HTTP 200 and something or whatever response, which is what we're sending. So it's getting acknowledgement and it's deleting the messages. That's why there's no more messages in the queue, because they're all gone. They've all been drained off. Now, what happens? Index. Let's zoom that in for a second. What happens if we send a, I don't know, a 400? Okay, so now we've changed the webhook to respond to incoming messages that are pushed to it by the service, not with a 200, but with a 400. So theoretically, right, we're not going to be giving a positive acknowledgement anymore to the service. So what's the service going to do? Let's find out. The orange is, colour foul. Colour foul. I quite like the orange, Andrew, actually. Woodland. Oh yes, woodland. By the way, this the wetter .in, I think, is over capacity at the moment, so that's why we get this weird thing. Anyway, so now we've got. We don't need that one, do we? No, I'm confused with that one. We've now got. Let's start that again. Okay, we've got nothing in the queue. We've got no unacknowledged messages. In fact, let's just run that every 2 seconds instead. There we go. Okay, fine. So now let's send some messages. And what's going to happen is, of course, in the response here, npm start, we've still got, of course, the ngrok running, but I've just zoomed this thing in for now, right? But let's actually, we can leave that there. Let's now send some more messages. Bang, 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 bang. 10 altogether. Now, let's just wait for this to update. We've got the message count 10. Unacknowledged message count 9. That's why it's 9 and not 10. But anyway, so what's happening here? We've received 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, but not 10. Interesting. Interesting. So we can see here that the webhook is, as we've told it to do, sending a 400 bad request response back to the messaging service. The messaging service is trying to deliver the message, but it's not getting an acknowledgement. It's not getting an acknowledgement according to what it considers a positive acknowledgement, i.e. it's not getting a 200 series response, it's getting a 400. So it's thinking, the message has not been delivered, right? And it looks like after these 9 messages, because we sent 10, it stopped. There are 10 messages in the queue still. The queue size in bytes is 11 because, of course, you know, there's an individual digit for 1 to 9, but then 10 is 10, which is 2 bytes, so it's 11, right? But the unacknowledged message count is 9. So it's got 10, it sent 9 messages, but it's got no acknowledgement for any of those 9 messages. And it sort of said, whoa, I'm not sending any more because that webhook subscription looks like it's broken. Let's send some more. Let's send another 10. Will we get any more here? Nothing is happening there. It's not being sent any more messages. So the messaging service is saying, I'm not going to try that again because it's broken. Message count 20. I'm still waiting for acknowledgement of the 9 messages I've sent. It does sound fair enough, doesn't it? So now, remember when the last minute, remember when we saw this pause and resume for a webhook subscription? And it said basically if you need to do some maintenance on the webhook, you can pause it and then resume. So let's do that, right? Pause the subscription. Let's do some maintenance on the webhook. For example, let's make it send back a 200 again, right? And start it let's put a clear screen. Start it. Ah! And now let's resume it and see what happens. We've got in the queue at the moment 20 messages, right? Let's resume this webhook subscription. Wow. So there we go. There we go. That is exactly, as Andrew says here, that is good behavior. So we've now fixed, as it were, the recipient end by making it give a 200 series, well, 200 literally, response, which implicitly or maybe explicitly, acknowledges receipt of the message because we're quality of service 1. So the messaging service itself can say, okay, there we go, with a resume, the webhook subscription has been resumed. So I'm going to send a message and try it again. Oh yeah, there we go, get acknowledgement, 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 all good. So in fact, we should see now, yeah, no messages left, no acknowledgement, there we go. And they're out of sequence as we found out before. Yes, they are, because there's no guarantee. Somewhere asked that before. And there is no guarantee of sequence of delivery because, of course, they're all sort of independent and, stateless. Okay, that's it. 9 o'clock. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that was good. I think we've covered quality of service okay. Let me know if you've got any questions in the comments to this video. Thanks so much for joining. Have a great Friday, and I'll see you soon. Next week, I think. Yeah. Bye.